If you're new to my YouTube channel, please click that subscribe button and remember to click the bell icon to get notifications of all my uploads throughout the week. Hi everyone, it's Mike here. So today I thought I would do the second of my art journal flip through. Seeing as everybody seemed to enjoy having that flip through of my very first art journal, I thought I would share my second art journal with you today. So this is the second art journal that I ever started, and this is one of the Strathmore mixed media art journals, the small one. It's 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches, and this particular journal was given to me as a birthday present from Kay Halliwell Sutton, who's the creative director for Indigo Blue back in the day. 2015 she gave me this, once she realised that I'd started to do art journaling. So it was a lovely present. So I started doing this, or using the smaller journal, as I was getting towards the end of that first large Dilutions journal that I've already shown you the flip through of. Now, if you haven't seen that flip through, then there'll be a link to it here and in the description area below, and probably in one of those clickable links at the end of the video too for that flip through video. So let's get started on this one. So as you can see, February 2015 is the date on this one. So I started my first ever YouTube art journaling video went live in March. So this was a page that I did that I never filmed and just played about with some stamps. These are the Tim Holtz worn text stamps. There's also some of that fantastic Wendy Vecchi Dreamweaver gold embossing paste, which is beautiful. There's a stencil in the background there as well. I think it's the Tim Holtz Sun Rays, and I'm not sure where that feather stamp came from. In fact, I'm not even sure where it is now. It might have been, I think it was a photopolymer one of the clear photopolymer ones that may have fallen to pieces long ago. So that's just paint, I think, been put on with looks like it might be Neocolour, just scribbled on and then activated with a paintbrush. So nice white space, balanced composition, not too bad for a very early art journal page. And then the second one, so this is dated the 8th of February 2015, again before I started uploading YouTube videos. So a bit darker, again using stamps. I think actually this is a Stamping Up stamp set. Could be. I seem to remember it being a Stamping Up stamp set. And then again the worn text from Tim Holtz again. So we've got bits of ephemera stuck down and then stamped and then painted and coloured in. It is a two-step stamping set from Stamping Up. You can see where I've stamped over and it's offset a little bit. So not a bad one. Playing with dark and grungy colours for fall, since it's February. I know. And then Valentine's or L'Amour. These were when the Crazy Birds first came out, just after CHA or whatever it was. I got my mitts on them. There's also a Broken or Grunge Heart stencil. I think that's a TCW one. Don't hold me to that. And I just cut out some book text hearts and stuck them in, and then went round with the Stabilo all pencil. There's also some mark making in there and some white splatters too. So fun little page. One of Ian's favourites, this one. 14th of February, Valentine's Day. There you go. Next one, 21st of February. Now this one was a response to a prompt from Journal 52 back when I was still doing that. So this was a watercolour painting that I did, and then I cut it up into small pieces and then reassembled it together again like a mosaic. Hence the phrase, just to signify that, you know, we are different things, there's different parts that make up the whole. There you go. So that was an attempt at watercolour painting from me. Not very good at it. And then again, another fun kind of like art journal page using those Crazy Bird stamps from Tim Holtz and Stampers Anonymous. Milton's Birds of Paradise Lost. Birds of Paradise, do you get it? Well, anyway, I thought it was funny at the time. And that's just been painted or coloured using Copics and a Pentel, one of the Pigment pens I think, with the added exclamation marks and the phrase. So just a fun little journal page to play with. And then this was one of my early YouTube videos where I used the masking fluid to create the web in the background, and a colouring page taken off the internet on one of those children's colouring book download pages, and I just coloured it using the artist Big Brush Pit pens, and then created the phrase using those one text stamps again. So that date, 7th of March, looks like 2015, that dark purple kind of explosion in the background with the web. So next one was another attempt at painting, this time with acrylic paints. Now this was done with distress paints, so literally just done with distress paints. Now in the background you can just see there's some tissue paper, there's the music grids or whatever it is that you call them, just in that background. So there's tissue paper down on there first, then gessoed over, and then painted with the distress paints, and then stamped with jet black archival using that same text stamp set. I tended to favour that stamp set to start. I haven't used it for ages because it takes ages to make the words up and then stamp it, but I suppose, you know, putting a little bit of effort into stuff. 11th of March, that one. So kind of like the cloud effects in that background as well. So the next one, we're playing with drips and runs. So drips and runs from the top, let them flow down, turn the book round, drips and runs, let them run down. So you've got both stalagmites and stalactites of running colour, and that nice kind of like rainbow effect. Again, that's been done with the microbial stencil from TCW, some modelling paste. It feels like the heavy carvable modelling paste from the Galleria, Winsor and Newton. I nearly said Ridley and Newton, or Newton and Ridley, familiar to my British viewers. Yeah, so that was then just added the neo colours or whatever it was, and then just let it run and blend. And a different alpha set this time. I think this was a very cheap alpha set that I picked up at Hobbycraft. Again, photopolymer stamp set, but it's kind of it's a bit big. And then I've gone over those with what looks like shiny Mod Podge. The next one was ink blending with torn edges to get that kind of effect, different colours in the background, and then the page was put together. The fairies and the bunny rabbits and all that kind of stuff and all the trees are all from a company here in the UK called Lavinia Stamps. So they're all stamps from them, and they tend to do these kind of lovely silhouetted fairies and that kind of stuff, and this stamp set is one of theirs too. I've just gone over with a white pen and created a moon before I had my stencil, well before I had my stencil. That's 25th of March again. So yeah, believe. Again, most of these I think were in responses to prompts from Journal 52 back then. And then the next one, it was literally just the tops of the foam sponge tops for the paint daubers. Let's see if I can grab one. One of those, literally just daubed straight down, and I just went around the entire page using those distress paints to create the dots, and then I went back and drew in kind of like the wrappers around some of them, and then added the shiny, the highlights with the white pen. I think it was a white Posca pen by the looks of it. And then again, Sweet Dreams are made of this, which is that stamp set from Tim Holtz again. So quite favoured that a lot. And then the next one, so we're going into April now. So we've jumped from, it's the beginning of April as well. So end of March, beginning of April, looks like the 6th of April. And then we've gone on to the 11th of April. So this one is the robots from Tim Holtz and Stampers Anonymous, and then I've drawn in all these like circuit connector lines. I've used cog stamps and I think it's the Distress Dots or Dot Fade stencil from TCW, which mine is practically destroyed now because I've used it that much over the years. And then I've literally just stamped on there and then drawn those lines in and connected the I think these are the Big Chat stickers that I've taken from the set, the ideology ones, and added those in to create that kind of robot circuit board effect. Again, paint in the background is distress paint over tissue paper. And just see that texture underneath from the tissue paper. So again, just black, browns and greens, so a limited palette, but quite effective when you stick to one or two colours or colour tones. So next one, 30th of April. So we've got a big heart cut out from book text, coloured first of all with distress inks and then wet so that it doesn't lift. We've got what looks like a jelly print background, but not a jelly print background. This was a background done on a silicone mat, one of those silicone cooking mats. I did an experiment to see whether or not you could use those silicone mats like a jelly plate, and obviously you can. And I used that as the background and then went over the top. That's the chicken wire reversed stencil, artist stencil there, and then obviously I've got splatters and I've gone around adding some doodling around the edges, and then I've printed this off on the computer. And I can't remember where the phrase came from. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. It's familiar, I can't remember where it came from though. But yeah, that's one of my favourite pages, and this was one of the ones that I turned into an art postcard. So this is available as a postcard in a set on my website at the moment. So I think I've got 3 sets of postcards that are all taken from my actual art journals. So I scanned them, I did a high-res scan and then turned them into proper sendable postcards. So this one was a complete mess page where I've got the stamps of the Vitruvian Man stamped in the background. This stamp set was an indigo blue stamp set, a very early one, and then I've got stenciling and just colour just washed in the background, and then that stamp set again to make the quote and the phrase for the page. So next one, I wanted to have a go at creating that kind of look on the page. See, it is my hand, it still fits like Cinderella. So I did the background first of all, drew around my hand and then painted the black over the top, and then added that quote in white. So 24th of May 2015 look. So a man who works with his hands is a labourer, a man who works with his hands and his brain is a craftsman, but a man who works with his hands and his brain and his heart is an artist. Like that. And I like the background. It's made up of torn pieces of paper. It's all just ephemera, bits and pieces, just all stuck down and then painted with block colours over the top, and then the hand drawing and then gone around. It's a really good effect for an art journal page. Really like it. I love that kind of black with all the colour showing through. So, next one. So, you are the wind beneath my wings. It's that feather stamp that I used right at the very beginning. This one. And I've cut out the shape of the 2 wings and stamped the feathers all over it, and then stuck them down next to the crease to fold it in. Kind of a funky page. Something different, 11th of June 2015. And in the background we have tissue paper, and I've just gradiated the colour to create kind of like an ombre effect with like turquoisey blue down to a more cooler kind of oceany kind of blue, and then the cloud effects are done using a sponge, a artist sponge just cut up with white acrylic paint, and again there's that stamp set again from Tim Holtz. So just to add a little bit of interest, Not quite your normal inclusion for an art journal page, but something a little bit different. And then this one is 21st of June 2015. Every page that makes your heart sing is a small measure of your own success. And this was one of those kind of Rorschach effects. So all the paint put down on one side, and this is red metallic paint. This is the Ruby Slippers from Indigo Blue, with a background created from Neo Colours, I think it was. And then I added the colour down, and then I literally just folded it to get that kind of heart shape. And you can see where they've joined together, so they're the exact opposites. And then I've added the journaling around it afterwards. Again, just playing around and experimenting with different kind of techniques in your art journal page. I was still learning and still trying to find a style at this point, until I realised that I don't have a style at all. I enjoy doing different types of art journal page, like this one, which was literally just painted black with white splatters, the mask, and then one of the white blobs I went in and coloured. You can just see it's blue and green to look like a little planet. Us lost in the depths of space. And that was my quote or journaling for the day. And that was 22nd of June, so the day after, literally. And then a couple of days later I had a play trying to create flowers or flower shapes using just stuff that I had lying around. So literally there were circles to create flowers and whatever it was. So not particularly good page. Colours have all fallen back and faded and gone kind of grungy, and not particularly good page, but again, it's one for playing with. And then this one, these are torn up strips of jelly plate playing to create the sun, and then this part here again is torn up pieces of jelly plate monoprints, and literally done on the computer and just stuck down, really. 11th of July. So again, a nice bright kind of art journal page. Not very grungy, but just something different. It was fun to do. And then the next one, again, just playing with blocks of colour, throwing it down, dividing it up with white pens, and then stamping, and then writing, and just adding a bit of journaling, and then adding an actual butterfly in there in the background. So Indigo Blue big butterfly stamp, I think, I seem to remember. But again, I put paint down on paper, stamped, and then cut out, which is why you've got those same kind of colours. And I think it looks as though I went over that with a Wink of Stella pen to get that glittery kind of shine. Yeah, they're not really me, but it was, you know, different. And when you're art journaling, it's nice to try different things. Next one, again, back with that butterfly. And this was a napkin. So literally, it was a napkin stuck down, and then gesso added over the top, and I've divided everything up. I've doodled white scribbles. There's that stamp again, where I've stuck that down. Just with is it on a foam pack? Yes, it is on a foam pack. That's why we've got a little bit of give and take in there. And then nothing says summer like butterflies and sunflowers, which is true. And that was 19th of July, so it was obviously getting to be a warm day. And sunflowers being my favourite flower, you know, they do feature quite a lot in art journal pages that I do. Now, next page. This is the 28th of, now it looks like July. Could be July. It is July. And this was a response. I started watching Cinnamon, the art Sherpa, on YouTube. And she did her version of Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night. And I thought, you know, I've always wanted to learn how to paint properly with acrylics. But I've never literally even given it a proper go. I know I did that one earlier in the book, but that was, you know, but to actually copy something in a similar style, never would have attempted that unless I'd watched her do that video. So she gave me the courage just to sit and paint this, and I did. I'm sure I filmed this one over the period of the time. How long it did, every single brushstroke, every single little part, look, it's all made of just small, tiny little brush strokes, different colours. We've got the moon, we've got those swirls and the swirl of the cosmos in the background. People say it's the wind, but to me it looks like that twist of the Milky Way that you can see on clear nights sometimes when you don't have any light pollution, but that's just me. Which is why that's the quote for this page. I always thought I couldn't, but now I know I can. You know, I can paint if I want to and put my mind to it. It's just whether how I've got the time to sit down to dedicate to it. So, yeah, thoroughly love that page. Even though it doesn't really say anything or do anything, it's just a reminder that, you know, as long as I sit down and put my mind to it and try, then probably I can. So the next one, I just bought the label printer, and these are tiny little individual post-it notes, and each one is only stuck down at the top, apart from the ones in the middle, because they needed to be. So they're all still loose. So I did every one separately, drew a different face on each one, and then just had the one which was different. You don't have to use paint for an art journal page. And that's the thing. Art journals are what you want them to be. And using different materials, different things that you've got lying around to create and say what you want, you know, is no less valid. So don't get hooked up or hooked on, you know, trying to use stencils all the time or trying to use paint all the time or sticking to a particular style, because I think you're missing out if you do. I love that. I think it's just such a simple art journal page, and it's just so much fun. Just so much fun to do. So if you've got one of those small post-it pads, have a go. You'll love it. Especially trying to come up with different faces. Trust me. By the time I got down to here, look, I was just trying to get anything down. But I still love it. It still puts a smile on my face whenever I look at this one. Next one, painting again. I walk a road less travelled. So obviously to signify that first footprint that went on the moon. So again, all painted, and then just gone round with a pen. So, and again, that lovely kind of splattery effect in the background. This has come through later from other pages. And again, painted earth in the background. So that was for August. And then this one, make a change, do something unexpected. So this is a stencil that I purchased from a company online called Apex Laser, and it's obviously the Banksy panda with the guns. I believe it's called Pandemonium, and I love it. So I bought the stencil. I've only ever used it the once. And then I created the background just out of stencils. So literally there must be, let's have a look, 1, 2, 3, 4 different stencils. So you've got mini cubist, you've got that dot fade one, there's a letter jumble, there's the quatrefoil one. It's just all done in different colours, but just says, it just pops, doesn't it? It just says wow. And when you look at it in the right light, you can actually see the stenciling underneath the panda, because I think I did the panda in black gesso, so it has come through a little bit. Looks fine there, but it's shiny there. Still like that page. And that's 3rd of August. And then another painted one, but this one is using a stencil, dandelion leaf stencil, and then I just created some dandelion tufts using a sponge, and then just graded paint in the background, and then added some white splatters. So again, a very simplistic and easy page to do, but was fun. That was the whole point. It's just fun to do something a bit silly and a bit different. Yeah, Nothing stuck in the background. There's not even any tissue stuck in the background on that one. It's literally just a gesso page, and then with those colours added over the top. Could even be Twisted Citron and Mowed Lawn distress paints with probably titanium white over the top. And then I've used ink, archival ink, through the stencil at the bottom. 21st of August, that one. Moving into autumn now. So again, I used that stamp set that I used right at the very beginning. Number 2, was it? Same stamp set. This time using the burlap stencil, lots of reds, lots of browns, and then I stamped using indigo blue gilding flake to get that beautiful kind of gilded golden effect in the background over the top of the stamps. Nice and effective, lovely colour, very lush. So Autumn's Fire burns slowly, day by day the leaves fall and melt. And that says William Allingham, whoever he was. A poet, obviously. Not sure of nationality though, I'd have to look it up, but not right now. Yes, I was kind of internal conflict at this point as to, is this real art? Is it real, you know, is art journaling a proper art form? And then I thought, well, you know, it's a new form, isn't it? That takes on many shapes and many different forms, and it can be done in many different ways. And I'm sure that people in the past, when they did like Cubism and, you know, Impressionism and all that kind of stuff, it wasn't considered to be real art. So I decided I was going to create an art journal page just using pieces of coloured paper, no patterns on there, just plain, and I created daisies and grass and clouds and like the sky and the ground just out of ordinary coloured cardstock. I think it was all basil cardstock, actually, scrapbooking stuff. It's starting to peel off. And used the label with the question. So what date was that one? September. And then I jumped straight into grunginess again. So this is one where I just throw everything at. So it was a picture of Mona Lisa that I printed out on inkjet printer and then stuck down over tissue paper, and then laid tissue paper over the top and built up all the layers. So there's tissue in the background, tissue on the top, it's all torn and ripped and then stenciled over, and just added the phrase, if you want something you've never had, you have to do something you've never done. There you go. So playing around with masters, and again tissue paper into the front, colours all show through, so you can just still see that lovely kind of green, pale green coming through there, and all the colours around the bottom. Again, I like this art journal page. I like the effect that the paper gives once it's been torn and stuck down, and kind of muted colours. I do like that one. The only one thing about art journals is, and this is one of the reasons why I created the larger journal that I've got, an 8x12 now art journal, is that sometimes I don't like folding them. I don't like the fact that these pieces of art, if you like, are folded in the middle. Sometimes it just kind of, I think, spoils it, but hey ho. Which is why I created a larger art journal. I've got this one here that I did and created bigger pieces. So these 8x12, I will do a flip through on this one eventually, but this art journal I don't have to fold in the middle, so I can do proper landscapey type styled ones. So that's for another time though, so I'll put that one to one side. Okay, next one. This one was a mission inspiration page, I believe, a prompt from somebody else, possibly even Shannon Green, I think. So she set the prompts for me. This was before I started the mission inspiration and let everybody join in. This was the mission inspirations that I just invited special guests to participate in. So we've got stenciling, with tinted modelling paste. We've got circles punched out, stuck down, book text and collage items and a border too. The more he saw, the less he spoke. Yep, I know the feeling there. And that, I think, was either the beginning of October. What date was that one? Let's see if I can see the date on that one. 26th of September. So I think this one was an October mission. So the beginning of October. And that is the last page in that art journal. And that's when I moved on to art journal number 3. This one. But that's for another day. So, let me turn this camera off and I'll join you using my other camera. So, I hope you enjoyed flipping through the pages and listening to me trying to remember what my motivations and reasons behind those art journal pages were. So once again, if you've enjoyed this flip through, please remember to give it a thumbs up, share the video with all your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of this video. And make sure you click that bell icon so that you get notifications of all my uploads over the coming weeks and months. That's all from me for now. I will see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now.